click this and say, yo, what up?
What's up, bro?
Nothing much. You bringing me the muscle man, huh?
Yeah, I'm bringing you the big guy.
Big guy himself. Hit me with the pitch. What's going on? What's going on here?
Yeah, so Muscular is one of the more interesting five-handers, in my opinion, just because he has infinitely scaling damage.
Yeah.
And looking at his three symbols, I really wanted to mess with life a lot because I feel like life has the most life gain, so you can take, a lot of punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I just stumbled upon the idea that quick creation is kind of just free real estate in him.
Yeah.
Because you put something in your card pool from your discard, lower their damage, take the hit, and then you build it down. So you get a free foundation on defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's outside of your hand. So that was something that was really cool for me. So I was just trying to figure out what the best foundation attack base would be for this kind of defensive on your opponent's turn strategy, but offensive on your turn.
Yeah. I'm down for it. So what do you need my help with?
Honestly, just prioritizing things, because there's a lot of one ofs and a lot of two ofs. I kind of just want to get a better get a different viewpoint on other cards that I can keep or cut, because I kind of want to get the deck down a little bit in size, because right now it's at 68.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to get down to around 65.
Sure. So it is 68. You want me to cut 5 cards? This one. Just kidding. Yeah, you got some interesting choices in here.
Yeah, I know something that's probably not on a lot of people's radar, but I kind of like his Piercing Needle.
Yeah.
It hits itself really fast, and Muscular can give it back the damage. And if they do go into deadlock, it becomes extremely relevant. And it's just an extra, essentially, once it hits once, it's now an extra +2 damage on attack.
Yeah. Man, this is one of those characters that I am excited to lab, because I think he's so open-ended with what he gets to do that it is a little silly. We do need to play at least a couple of weapons, and it looks like you are. 1, 2, 3. These count? Okay. Talk to me about this card. I'm going to leave it on screen for a little bit.
Yeah, so Determined Victory Smash is always obviously the big funny loop, right? Mm-hmm. You see it, you play it. Once you have 10 counters, it's essentially an infinite unless they Faith Shielded or...
Faith Shield doesn't stop it.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't. That's right, because it's...
It resolves, and then you pick it up, and then this thing attempts to flip it.
True. Yeah, so actually, yeah. So it's just the loop, right? But I think the fear of the loop is better than actually playing more copies of this card, because I'd rather have attacks that are actually doing something before I'm getting to 10 counters, because honestly 10 counters is a lot.
Yeah,
that means 10 attacks of either, in best case scenario, maybe I've landed 5 attacks on them, they've landed 5 on me.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but I feel like at that game,
I love that you said the number 5. I love that you said the number 5.
So, I think just having a one of is fine. If you see it and you're at 10 counters, you probably just win.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they, perfect block breaker 2, and then you're, tapped out because of bad checks.
Showdown, just,
or
turns your card sideways. But that's blocking on an 8.
Which isn't easy.
Sucks. And that sucks. Yeah, I'm in. I'm in. Let's chat about it. So first and foremost, I put in a couple of these cards thinking about the idea of Determined Victory Smash, and I think that the card is real and live. Don't get it twisted. I think this card exists. Do I think that you can play a 4-attack Muscular deck? No, I do not believe that. I think that you have to play something else. I think whenever I make my Muscular deck, I'm going to play 3 of this, and I'm going to play 3 of this. Because I think that making a 10 mid for 10 is way easier and way more impactful for 1 momentum than making a 5 high for 15 indefinitely.
Yeah, for sure.
And you said, oh, they hit me, right? Hey, look at this card. Boom, here it is.
Yeah, the 5 is much easier to get on this than... And then you have guaranteed momentum with Muscle Rush.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that makes
correct.
sense.
And Dual Needle Lunge.
And Dual Needle Lunge, exactly.
Yeah. So I think that this is the thing that they should actually be scared of, and then this is the thing that eventually, this is the inevitability, right? Like I'm gonna be pushing so much at you over and over and over and over and over again that I just like this is how I want to hit you. Nero, you're absolutely right. I pulled up a card that is very similar to Copy Harden, but you're right. I did not pull up that card. So let's look at it. Let's look at some of the choices that we have. I put in Recovery Time. I actually put it to 1. I think this card is going to be a mainboarded card because the way that you beat Muscular is you have to chunk him for 7-8 damage moves, right? Your Dobbies want to fight this guy. And so when you take your move, get your counter, gain your 4 back, that's like an extra 4 damage they got to find somewhere, which is very good.
Yeah.
Getting to draw cards is cool. Honestly, it's a 0 high for 5 that gets you a counter so that this thing is a little more real. This is one of the first cards that I put in the thing. If you're not into this card, I totally get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Armored Muscle. You said the word gain health, and then this card, and then you said Comito Ravalfun, and then you didn't have this in your deck, and it also like stops the commit for minus stuff. This card's insane in your deck.
Yeah, I was heavily considering that card as well.
Yeah. The only issue is you can't block with this card and then build it off of Muscular because it gets removed as soon as it starts to go into your stage. But like it just like if my opponent keeps going, I build counters. Counters. They just don't get to keep going. Lost in Thought is the foundation version of Copy Harden, right? Copy says add a card from your stage to your hand. So as Nero points out, as you block with things, you build down the attack and then you Copy Harden to pick it up, or you Lost in Thought to pick it up. Add a foundation from each player's stage to their hand. Both players build 1 card from their hand face down.
True.
And so like you lose 1 foundation if all of your cards are ready, but if they're not, then you go even and you take their best piece away. Rescue completed because sometimes blocking things is good. Wall clean because sometimes blocking things is good. Getting stunned out and your 5-hander sucks, so make sure that you can block early. And then being able to block with Naval Laser Beam, break your tooth, and build it down after they try to push harder is like just good, right? Like it's just like a good move.
Yeah, break your 2 and a free foundation.
And this card was killing people before you gave it 5 damage.
True.
Yeah,
it very much was.
So there's the things that I added. Is there anything in this that you liked that you were like, oh, that makes sense to me?
If I could find the space for Lost in Thought, I do like Lost in Thought. I feel like Recovery Time has to come in at some number.
I think a 2 of is fine.
And yeah,
just 2, separate the other 2.
And then Ruthless Mockery, I do like. The only problem is that like it removes whenever it leaves the card pool. I would probably sideboard it against characters that I think are really gonna like characters that have to kill you off of strings, right? Like if I go in against Dobby, like Dobby 2 specifically, then I probably want this card against him. Because he's gonna have to throw like 5 attacks in order to burn down my 36. And it makes it to where if the first attack he throws isn't Twisting Azure, which it should always be for whatever reason, like,
If he has it yet.
then he just, yeah, if he has it, it should be his first one. But if he doesn't, he probably won't be able to give it the extra 2 damage to turn its enhance on.
Yeah, his enhances remove 3 cards for +1 damage. That sucks.
Yeah. So then, like, he'll probably still have to play attack so he can do something, but then that fills up my counters, and then I can easily
two-shot him. Beep,
snap him in half on the clapback.
Yeah.
But I think it's really just only good in those specific scenarios, right? Like, I feel like
I think it's a solid one of, right? You're a 5 hand size character. You don't need to have this card, but when you do, it's good enough, right?
that's fair.
Yeah, I think it easily gets to be a one of. Before I keep adding cards to your deck, how big is this allowed to be?
65 is the number I want to get to.
65.
66 is like the highest I can realistically go.
Fair enough. Okay. Okay, so you said you did like Lost in Thought, so we're just gonna put that in there. Was there anything else that you liked about this? We already put recovery time in your deck.
I could probably look at the attack lineup and see where I can fit in Aspiring Punch.
Okay, we're gonna put it in. No rescue, no walkling. In order to get a card in your card pool, you do have to still block. That is the thing you have to do.
Maybe rescue.
Okay.
Not walkling, because I still kind of want things to deal damage, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with just half blocking a bunch of stuff.
Until you get into the mirror match and they get more counters than you.
I will.
Actually, wait. Can they get more counters?
No, we get the same amount of counters.
Yeah, they get 10 counters, and then you have to walk like a thing that's going to do partial.
That's fair, but then we can like sideboard.
Sideboard's fine. Naval Laser Beam, said no, right? Same thing with Tongue Whip. Copy Harden looks insane, right? This card looks nuts.
Copy Harden does look good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there it is. All right. So let's talk about the attack lineup first, right? Hit me with Leaping Right Hook. What's going on with this card?
Kind of more of the same thing with like Piercing Needle is. It's an attack that loses damage, but then you easily just give it the damage back.
Sure.
It's not as fast as Piercing Needle, has less utility, but it also does force a high block out of their hand because as a 5-hander, you don't want me to draw more cards, right?
Right. Muscle Mauler.
God, Muscle Mauler feels like so good a lot of the times. It also adds a card from your momentum to your hand, so you can pick back up your Muscle Rushes, you can pick back up your Dual Needle Lunges, you can pick back up your Blood Transfers. Maybe it doesn't need to be a 3 of, but it's also a breaker 1. Yeah. And it has a very relevant deadlock.
I think this is the biggest case of a win more card I've ever seen for constructed. I think that this you have to have the face down. You have to play this 6. Just kidding, it's a 5 diff. You have to have a face down you want to destroy, as well as a card in your momentum. Like, it's very good with this, but like, I paid the 3 health. I don't know. I think this card is a one of at best. I would cut it for a second one of these in a heartbeat. Because like, this card is inevitable. You have to have this one. This one says you win the game, and this one says you draw an attack. You draw an attack and a random card.
Yeah, fair.
A 2 mid block versus 1 mid block, right?
Yeah, I guess looking at my things as well, I don't really have a lot of flip stuff. Granted, Muscular does put things in.
Oh, we got Pump Up
anyway.
You should be playing Pump Up all the time. Excited for Blood, Bonds, Recovery Girl's Kiss. A Precious Lesson builds things in face down. Lost in Thought's gonna build things face down. I think you got plenty of face down cards, truthfully. And Muscular not only also builds them in face down. So I think that like you're gonna have the face downs, but the thing is like, on what turn do we want to Muscle Mauler?
Yeah, because I guess you're not Muscle Mauler straight away, right? Unless you have Dual Needle Lunge and then you use it, and then you muscle mauler and you pick it back up.
Right.
But
And then you have to play the dual needle lunge on a 6.
yeah, and you still have to see those cards in your 5-hander. So yeah, maybe it's not like super worth it.
Yeah, that is how I feel. I don't like this card. I don't like this card. I don't like this card. I think just Piercing Needle being the only weapon in your deck because it has EX3 and Deadlock Stun 3 is enough of a weapon because you're only playing 2 quick creations. That's it. Right? So the reason that we need to have at least one weapon inside of our deck is so that we can Deadlock First Enhance, make this thing a 8 mid for 10, and then make it, and then Deadlock Stun 3 are 8 mid for 10, right? Like that tactic should just exist somewhere in our deck, but I don't think that you need these cards in order to do the thing. With how potent momentum is going to be, I think the fact that your deck doesn't need momentum, you shouldn't be doing all these momentum tricks because everybody's just going to be playing at 4 to 7 pieces of momentum hate mainboarded now. Again, it's the gold rush. Everybody wants momentum, which means everybody's going to be trying to take it away. Your deck is one of the few decks that doesn't need it, right? Or is down to spend the cash very quickly. I want to spend this cash. I don't want to hold on to it and do nothing with it.
Right.
Because, like, once this goes into your momentum, like, what do we do with it? Like, this thing has EX. I guess this thing technically has EX. This has... No. This has EX.
Yeah, you're mainly spending it on the EX for back alley and Piercing Needle.
Yeah.
Is really it. Because its momentum enhance isn't like relevant. Blood Transfers is nice because it's just an extra, like, 1 health, which could, you know, be the difference in you surviving the turn or not.
Sure.
It's also a 1 mid block.
Yeah. Let's take it one piece at a time. Muscle Mauler. How many?
We can cut Muscle Mauler since we're planning on upping Determined Victory Smash.
Pog.
And possibly putting in
3.
Some Aspiring Punches as well.
Blood Transfer Needle Lunge. Did I sell you on the fact that these cards don't need to exist in your deck? You can tell me no. It is okay to tell me no.
I still like Needle Lunge just being... I have a shit ton of health.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pay my 3. You either block this move that's going to get pumped up by my counters, or you don't block it. Either way, I don't care. If you do block it, you lose a high block.
Yeah.
Or if you mid block it, you take the damage, I get my counter, I get everything I wanted, and it leaves my card.
Yeah. I think the answer to that is I just always high block this. Because, like, the best time to do it is on turn 2. So, like, you go first, you build out your 4, and then you dual needle lunge and you pay your 3, and I just high block it, and then it goes to your momentum, and then you go haha, and then you build because you're a 5-hander. I'm like, got me again, Flash. But I will submit needle lunge into back alley haymaker is a guaranteed back alley haymaker hit. It just hits, right? And if they are caught lacking, then like it feels very good. So I am down for it. How do you feel about blood transfer? Can I convince you to make it 3 copies of Copy Harden?
I think I can do that.
Love it. It's gone. Muscle Rush has to exist. Piercing Needle has to exist. Aspiring Punch, I think, is the last one that we get to really mess with. What are your thoughts on Aspiring?
I like Aspiring if we're keeping dual needle lunge.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, say I don't have the momentum because they're, like, killing my momentum, they're getting rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever see dual needle lunge and Aspiring Punch, and I have 5 counters, I see that in the same turn, it's a guaranteed Aspiring Punch.
Yeah. How would you feel about, like, Determined at a 2 of, Aspiring at a 2 of?
I think that could
just to try it out, right?
Yeah.
This is we're still in testing phases, and that puts us up to 22, right? The only thing that I'm not absolutely sold on is just like back alley's not at a 4 of, and that seems like sacrilege. We could also take, and this is crazy, we could take and drop leaping right hook down. We could get rid of leaping, and then toss in one more dual needle lunge, one more back alley, if we wanted. I don't know how much you value this card. This card says build a foundation, and that's what I really care about. This card says build a foundation or draw a card, and this card says maybe draw a card. And then we are losing one of our low blocks, but we're technically getting it back. And it's like a 2 low, and I doubt that you hold this anyways, right?
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, we could see how it works. I'm just nervous about like the ratios between the 4 diffs and the 5 diffs.
Well, the thing is like our goal is to like put on pressure, attempt to get counters, and then do this eventually, or do this eventually, right? And so like this card, playing this card, it's a 5 high for whatever that whatever's that like maybe draws a card, and it's on if it deals damage. It's not on if it's blocked, right? So like I would rather, you ready? If you don't like this card, I would rather it just be this card. Because this card is a 5 all by itself and just hits, right?
Yeah,
and it also forces my opponent to like it puts the card in the card pool, so not every move gets that +1 speed, right?
Yeah.
The only good thing about this card is it's got deadlock on it. The deadlock is incredible.
Does have good deadlock.
Again,
nothing else really does.
Your call. Think on it. We'll come back to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Young Heroes. Great. Quick creation. This could just be a 4 of if you wanted it to be. Is there a reason it's not a 4 of?
It was more of just looking at like my foundation count, right? Like out of 4 of, I think it's great. The only issue I foresee is that if, opening hand, I open up, I have 2 quick creations, an attack, and 2 foundations.
Yeah.
Doesn't really feel as good as like I want to find them, but I don't want to find them all at the same time. So maybe going up to 3.
So let me posit you this, right? Like that sounds bad, but every quick creation on turn 2, if my opponent attacks, is a foundation. And we're down to play a slower game because of like inevitability, right?
Yeah. That's fair, yeah, because now since the term victory smashes are up, I'm not just playing the 1 of.
Yeah. And when
even if I do find
you
it, I now
block with Determined Victory Smash.
Pick it up.
You pick it up with Harden. You pick it up with Lost in Thought. And so, like, you have ways to go find it.
True.
I think this card is incredible in your character, and this card says that every turn you have +2 health. You have +2 health and build a thing that you want to build. The only thing that this card does is it telegraphs the fact that you are not blocking this move. That's all it does.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I guess we could push it up to a.
Let's go to 3.
4 of.
Let's go to 3. I think 3 is fine. I think so. This is crazy. I think you want to find this on turn 2. I think this card says that every turn you have +2 health, which is like to the point where like if I have quick creation and my opponent has 3, if I have 3 quick creations out, my opponent has 3 attacks, and they aren't substantial, they don't get to attack, because that's I build 3 on your turn. -6 damage, and then I built the top 3 cards of my discard pile. Insane. Absolutely nuts. Very good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about foundations now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's just go to difficulty and see what's going on. 3 diff. Excited is good. Pump up is mandatory. High build evaluation. Planning ahead is hilarious. Masked Menace
planning
has
ahead
to
is
exist.
the
This card's
most
insane.
this card's fucking cracked.
Wild Pussycats. Thoughts on this being mainboarded?
I like the form a lot, especially whenever you need the foundation, right?
Yeah.
And then if your opponent just happens to be playing Echo and you happen to have it in your hand,
Yeah.
there you go. It loses Echo. I think it's fine at a 1 of.
Loss.
It has a decent block.
Hero's Inspiration. I think this card's neat. Put it in your card pool. Draw the card. Take the hit. Build it down. That's neat.
Yep.
Neato.
And then if you happen to check it on attack, you just get extra stats.
Bench press.
So
How do you lose
bench
health?
press, you don't lose health, but unless you're playing dual needle lunge. But bench press to me just says, you flip it, they hit you. It's essentially the same thing as quick creation,
Sure.
just on a foundation.
That sucks. We're gonna take it out.
That's fair.
Evade and copy.
I like a bin copy. If you have to mid block something that's really fast, you mid block it and you get to build it down.
Sure. So you'd say from an unblocked attack. Okay. It has to be unblocked. Rough. Yeah, I'm not into it, man. I think if we're trying to cut cards, this is one of the first ones to go.
Yep, that's fair.
I think it just exists in the sideboard if you really need it. New training method. Best thing for you to pick up is face shield, which is over in your sideboard, right?
Correct.
I guess it also like lets you build a little harder. I don't know. I'm not in love with this card. I'm gonna bounce around a little bit. Self-sacrifice needs to be a 4 of. Self-sacrifice needs to be a 4 of, strictly for the low block, because we just took out low blocks.
That's fair. Yeah.
And then it's more damage reduction. So I'm down to destroy cards that I don't care about in order to DR. We're still at 73. And we lost a low block. Difficulty again. Press lesson is good, but it might need to leave. I'll protect you. Might need to leave. It's cool. I think that's what Rescue Complete is for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
For that case, I think Hero's Inspiration needs to leave. It's either that or we start cutting these bonus cards, right? Like Ruthless Mockery just gets to be a sideboard card. Recovery Time gets to be a sideboard card. Excited for Blood gets to be a sideboard card. Or Excited for it just gets to leave, right? Lost in Thought might just have to leave because like we're over budget. You know.
Yeah, I think Excited for Blood might just have to leave. It was only in at a 1 of anyway.
Yeah. And surprisingly tough to trigger if you aren't playing throws.
Yeah, because they're just gonna block, right?
Yeah, let's take out Lost in Thought. And if you feel like this is not getting you the cards that you need consistently enough, put it back in.
Okay.
Let's take Ruthless Mockery and put it into a sideboard. Let's take Recovery Time, drop it down to a 1 of. Oh, we said 65, right?
Yes.
So I got 2 more cards. Let's look at block zones. Pass recovery. I mean, the answer is like Wild Pussycats. And then probably one of these bonds. And that might be it.
You think one of the bonds?
Yeah, if we have to get to 65. If 65 is the number we have to get to, it is 1 bond, 1 pussycat.
So you'd rather cut out 1 bond than getting rid of like 1 full-on attack mode?
I don't hate that. You said you wanted to gain health, and I've taken a lot of your health gain cards. So I was trying to handshake across the aisle and be like, yeah, man, full on attack mode is the thing.
That's true.
But I'm down. I'm down. We can take out a 1 of that, and then I think this just goes in the sideboard. If you're down to bloat your deck a little bigger, then there it is. But 19, 30, 16, those ratios are fine. And yeah, I think this card is cracked to this deck.
Yeah, that card's kind of the heart and soul of this entire idea.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm in. This looks good, man.
So now that the lineup's kind of changed a bit, can I talk to you about 2 cards that you didn't bring up?
Yeah.
One was, I think it's called To the Rescue.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking sealing a foundation, because a lot of foundations are really good nowadays. So I'm thinking having the clutch sealing 1 foundation for the cost of removing is probably worth it. The only reason I didn't have it in my original list because I didn't have a lot of like punches.
Sure.
Now most of the attack lineup is punches. So
Asterisks. This is not a punch. 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 I think we took out 3 punches and put in 2 punches. Because the 6 diff was a punch, right? And I guess we took out
the 6 diff is a punch, yeah.
Yeah, so we took out 3 and put in 2. So we technically like lost 1, and then we didn't actually include any more punches.
Oh, well, never mind then.
I hear what you're saying. It just goes over this slot.
Yeah. Fair.
Same block, same thing, and I think that card is really good. So here's the way that formats work, right? In every card game, and you know this. As you're testing decks, they should be all about flow. What is the best way to flow to make my deck work? And then you start to take out the things that aren't as impactful, right? Like this is purely a flow card, like or a defense card, right? If I had this card in my card pool, I put it up in my card pool, I get to draw my cool card, and then it builds down, and I go, hee 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 hee, that was awesome. This card has no actual impact on what my opponent does. It doesn't. It draws me a card on defense. Neato. This card draws me a card on defense. Why am I playing this one and not this one? This one has a low block, and this one accidentally rolls my opponent for +2 speed. Neat. So yeah, you like if you think that other card has value, once you see that the format is and realize that it's not all attack cards all the time, and you keep losing to a Dobby clone, right? Then yeah, this card just should be the disruption piece, right? But yeah, all the things that you should be doing right now in the format as you're exploring these cards, since we don't even have them, they're not even paper cards yet. Is like, how optimal can I make my deck?
True.
Yeah, I need to not die so that I can run my engine smoother.
Yeah, I have to do the thing.
Gotta do the thing, because like there's no reason to like disrupt your opponent's stuff if your deck just doesn't work.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was one of the 2 cards. Hit me with the other card.
So the other card, I'm pretty sure you and Andrew both said this card's ass, but it's his other attack that we didn't have here, right? His 4th attack.
This one?
No, not that one. The other one.
He has another attack?
Yeah, he has another attack.
the 5 diff, the really shit 5 diff.
Yeah,
hold on, let me go pull it
up. but hear me out.
I'm listening.
Let me cook. So this 5 diff says, hey, remember that thing that I built in with my quick creation a few turns ago? If you completely block this attack, I'm going to unflip that thing I built in. And that thing might be another quick creation. Or it might be just unflipping a precious lesson, right? Like, the thing about this card is that as the game progresses, your opponent's going to forget what you have face down.
Yeah.
And so you can unflip really good foundations, or just like, yeah, I blocked with Young Heroes at some point. I took a hit, I built it face down. And then if you block this Nightmarish Physique, which is going to have plus X damage, then I'm going to unflip it, and I'm going to have this for the rest of the game. And it's one of those things, like, the longer the game goes, the more and more they're going to have to block it. And completely block it.
If you want that card, why give them a choice? You know, I'll see your if blocked unflip 1, and I'll raise you first enhanced discard momentum unflip 2.
You're not wrong.
5 mid for 5. 5 mid for 8. Breaker 2 block that I'm super down to build and then pick back up. 5 mid for 8 that then gets stacked moves on top. Yes, this card is technically faster, but I have to remove a counter to do so. This card is just the better. This card is the better version of this card. This card is only this card is the only time this card is better than this card is if I don't have a momentum. I'm probably gonna get it.
I mean, yeah, but going back to what you said earlier, right? We're in like we're in the hypothetical format that everybody's trying to remove momentum as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
in most circumstances, I'm gonna not have momentum.
Sure.
Than circumstances where I do have momentum.
Yeah. If this card ends up sucking, yeah, trade it out, I guess. I still think this card is not very good, and I feel like this is one of the blankest 5 mid for 5s of all time. I'd rather this be like a knife slice. This card doesn't have my keywords on it. It just, it's whatever. I think this card is so mid. The only time I've ever put this in a deck is because I wanted to laugh at Shoji 2 under fire. Because he gets counters.
He does get counters.
Yeah. And I just wanted to laugh at him.
No, man.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm overvaluing Unflip a Foundation. I feel like Unflip a Foundation is like an insane effect.
It really is. How many times have I ever lost because of this card doing it? But this card this card has one job, and it's my opponent gets to choose if they unflip or not, right?
I guess, but it's kind of one of those it's one of those scenarios where I feel like the math this character is going to work out as on average you're probably going to have around 6 or 7 counters on average, and that's just you and your opponent going back and forth beating each other.
Sure.
So I think this thing being on average, if you play it when you're at max counters, is going to be like a 12, a 5 mid for 12.
Yeah.
That you have to answer.
Or
because if you don't, you're just taking that. Yeah, or I unflip my quick create.
I don't know, man. I am excited for you to beat my ass with this card. That's what I have to say about this. I don't think if this was Shark Tank, I would not be buying.
It could just be my experience. I've won games off of the backs of unflipping a foundation due to an effect that unflips a foundation, and that being able to make me kill my opponent that turn.
Yeah.
But you're right. It could not be relevant, right? It could be a situation where I do have the one momentum, so then Naval Laser Beam is just better because I unflip 2 things rather than.
Maybe I could see this if we were playing something like Earth, where we get to unflip a latent skill, and that's what lets me find the rest of my stats. But besides quick creation, what are we unflipping here? Unflipping. A Precious Lesson. It's pretty good.
Precious Lesson. A Recovery Girl's Kiss.
To heal one? That doesn't kill them.
I mean, you're not wrong.
We want to kill them. Unflip one for cool defensive pieces. I'll just build a different defensive piece. You know what? Also, unflips. Here's my air quotes. Recovery Girl's Kiss. This card. This card unflips Recovery Girl's Kiss. I'll blow it up with one of my 6 blow up cards and then just rebuild it back. And again, they had no input on it. They didn't get to say anything about it. It just happened. The fact that this gives my opponent the chance to choose of you know what? I'm down to partial this. I'll take it's got 5 counters. I'll take the 5, and you don't get to do the unflip. If you partial block this, you still take the 5, and I still unflipped the thing. I think giving them a choice at all, with the choice being so honestly, in your deck, in this particular pile of cards, selectively flipping one of their cards is better than you selectively unflipping one of your cards. Especially because you already have things like Copy Harden.
Yeah.
This is the world's slowest unflip.
Yeah.
Especially the slowest unflip if you're looking for defensive pieces. Hey, man, I'll unflip my quick creation by adding it to my hand and just playing it in the card pool. Building it. Pass.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay.
So
one last thing,
we're
though,
all in agreement. Nightmare Physique sucks ass.
I'm not going to say all that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Repeat after me.
Not
Nightmare
gonna say all
physique. All right, last thing. I'm gonna get you off.
Yeah, last thing. I won't hold up any more time. Overflowing power says that once I have enough counters, you have to full block all of my attacks, because if you don't, then on the half block they will do half their printed damage, because they'll round up. And then once that happens, you now discard a card. Is it worth it? Or is it just to like win more?
It's very win more. It's the most win more of all time.
Okay.
By the time you're in that spot, unless you're fighting something like a Momo who's just gonna full block all your moves anyways, things like overflowing power probably just like has them. Your deck should kill them, right?
Right.
You taking damage, them taking damage, like your moves should just be such big haymakers that, and if they are build one passing, it means that you'll just, with pump up plus your character plus blocking, you'll find this and then kill them, right? Like by the time that overflowing power matters, determined victory smash wins the game.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I just wanted to bring it up because I feel like this character is probably the best one to utilize it. Just
also, this card says it stays in your card pool.
What do you mean?
This overflowing power says response : after your attack deals more than its printed damage, your rival discards a card, period. Which means it just sits in your card pool, which means I'm breaker wanting myself to make them discard a card. That next move better kill them.
Oh, yeah, that's what you meant. Sorry,
Yeah.
the stream got stopped on Terrifying Image, at least from what I was seeing. So I was like, what does that have to do with anything? But yes,
Overflowing power.
Overflowing power does stay in the card pool, which was another downside of it. Okay. I was thinking it was win more, but I just had to like make sure that I wasn't like missing something here.
I've only ever seen this card work one time. Travis Tangeman one time played it against in a Froppy deck on stream and made a very fast tongue whip that hit me on turn 2, and he played one of these and discarded one of my 2 cards out of my hand and then proceeded to do dumb Froppy things and just like beat me. And she could play with the +1 progressive because of like how her character worked, and she still got to like play out a big string because of it, and like accidentally checked it and like did the thing as a 7-hander and played up 1,000 moves, and it was like, wow, that was super cool. But she just had to draw the nuts for that Aussie deck to work, right? You're not going to draw the nuts in your 5-hander.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I am okay with that explanation.
Love it. All right, man. We'll stay on the line long enough for me to shoot you the list. It's good to have you back in these deck dogs. I'm happy to talk to you again.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna get a good flow going with set 4, like I do with every set. I'm probably gonna build something for every character. I'm gonna meme and troll my locals with Moonfish eventually. So
Yuck! I hate that.
Look forward to that.
All right, dude. I'll catch you next time. Okay.
Later,
Peace.
man.